Good day, I'm Dr. T, and welcome back to Timberborn. Not quite 2 weeks ago, they released their first major update, and hey, want to walk y'all around a little bit of it and give a little bit of a review to the major update for Timberborn. Okay, so I'm starting a new map, and I'm not for sure if I just hadn't played this map before or if this is one of their new maps. But it is a very tiny map. It is the smallest map that they have, to the best of my knowledge. If there's one smaller, there shouldn't be. This is a really tiny, tiny map. So I'm not using the district feature because I'm pretty sure I can't. There's not enough room for two districts. So the rest of Timberborn and kind of, leading off of what I earlier talked about, you've got a society of beavers. This is post-human apocalyptic. So humans are gone. The ruins are still there. It's where you get your metal from. And you're beavers. And of course, as beavers, you're controlling water. So you're building dams so that when the water stops, which it does quite often, so you periodically have, rainy seasons and dry seasons, you got your dams to control it. All of that is basically the same as it was beforehand. What they've really done in the major update has been probably best described as flushing out, just adding more to it, and really kind of taking directions from having the survival game, which was there, and making it much more interesting in the later game. And the major feature to that really comes down to this idea of this population well-being. So they're not going to die if it gets fairly low. And boy, I need to work on this. This has gone down a bit. But the idea is they want certain resources. They want rooftop terraces. They want campfires. They want different foods. So the berries or any food will satisfy hunger. I don't know why two of them are hungry. I've got a ton of food. But they want a variety of foods. And so you need to try and make that accommodation for them, as well as give them entertainment and other resources that they would enjoy and like doing. And to be honest, on this size of a map, it's really hard to do. But the idea here is that really, once I've moved past basic survival, which you do in the first couple hours of a game, once you've gone through about your second or third dry season, unless you start just recklessly growing your establishment, then you don't really have an issue. So that's really nice. Now you're really kind of flushing out and trying to get their well-being up. Okay, apparently a bunch of them decided to actually go hang out at the campfire. There is some fluctuation on these well-beings. Okay, so let's talk about some of the changes that have been made. First off, this is one that I know I put in the discussion forums. I know a lot of people did, and that was the science needed an upgrade. So originally you came out with just one type of science building. That's giving you your technology points that allows you to unlock things, and that was the inventor's hut. And that doesn't give you a lot of science. Now, this really works well as starting the game out and not giving you too many options, kind of restricting what you're doing. That way, you're not in a situation where you're overwhelmed. And that's one of the beauties of a nice tech tree. So it's leaving you with a fairly succinct, here's where you need to go, and you got a certain path. Now, I will say there's this interesting feature where this guy, the forester, is really essential. You don't start out with enough trees to be sustainable. You have to start growing trees quickly. And so this is, even before the dam, one of the first things I try and go for. But in order to get the forester, you have to unlock the forester. Okay. And in order to unlock the forester, you have to unlock the lumber mill and start building planks, because this is part of the supply chain. This is a supply chain mechanic here. I've got a little bit of an issue here. I really wish the forester didn't require planks. I think that would be a slightly different narrative here, and I think that would improve things. But otherwise, I like kind of the slowly unfolding things. You've got the supply chain, you've got the unlocking the buildings. I'm not usually a huge fan of having both a tech tree and a complicated supply chain, but their supply chains are usually relatively simple. And it's fairly obvious the pathways you're going to have to go to get these guys. So the main thing that they've really done on this one is a multitude of different foods, as you saw earlier. Previously you had berries, carrots, baked potatoes, and bread, and that was it. Now all of a sudden we've got, grilled potatoes, my bad. Grilled chestnuts, grilled cattail crackers, and grilled whatever that is, maple pastries, which I could totally like the maple pastries. And so these are different recipes you can make. So for instance, my grill can either make grilled potatoes or it can make grilled chestnuts. I can switch back and forth. I wish there was a way to have one grill and say, okay, well, grilled potatoes half the time, grilled chestnuts half the time. Most games don't have that feature. I assume it would be a coding-wise, it would be a pain. But that is a feature I really would like to see. Some games will do, okay, we'll do this, then this, then this, then this. And I understand you don't want too complicated of an AI and trying to work things out. You want it nice and simple. But I would like to be able to say, well, make everything. Just kind of, alternate or something. But, Now, as I was getting to, though, and before I got distracted with the technology tree, they created the Observatory. And this was something I really wanted. And that was a science building that did a lot more science. Notice how fast this guy is making the science. And it's not even fully staffed compared to this guy. He's going much slower and much, much less science. Now, you've got a fairly decent supply tree on this one. So you've got to unlock it. Plus, you need some more advanced parts, including that pine sap. It's not going to let me hover over the pine sap, but the pine sap, which I'll get to in a second, as another cool feature. But it definitely does a lot more science faster, which means that once you get one or two of these up, and truth be told, I did not need two. Once you get one or two of these up, the tech is really no longer so laggy. In the previous game, you were really just kind of sitting there building a dozen or so inventors. It's like, okay, would you research it? Finally, moving on. And now this really moves it on quick enough. They do require power. They do require resources. They're, fairly demanding little critters. But that definitely takes this whole, okay, when will the tech come? And really resolves that issue. So it really makes this nice. The tech doesn't become quite so burdensome, and it fades away in the later game, which is the way it should by installing one of these guys. So obviously, you're going to want to get these guys in pretty earlier. We've got some aquaculture going on. So in this case, you've got cattails, and I've got spatula duck. I don't know what this is. I assume it's a real thing. I just don't know what that is. So I do like that we got the aquaculture, we got the variety of foods. Just adds a bit more depth to the game. Nothing profoundly changes. It's got still the same core feel. Definitely nothing that breaks it. Definitely a nice bug fix here. The other areas like the shrines. Oh, where's the shrine? I know I got one over here. Shrines, which are kind of a two-pronged with the spirituality. As well as the temples. I like that that's got that slightly more interesting features going on. As well as new recreations like this critter, the Lido. Once again, I assume these are real things. I just have never heard of them. Where the beavers can wade around in the water. You've got a mud pit that I have not created yet. Which looks really interesting. By the way, if you see me ducking away, that's because the GoPro's in the way from where I'm looking. So that definitely looks like an interesting idea. Just more variety here and in trying to get this number as high as possible. So the game really changes late game. You're no longer trying to survive, which, I mean, you are, but you're also trying to thrive and really make your beavers happy. So overall, this is definitely something where once I saw that there was the new game out or the new major updates, like, well, I haven't played Timberborn lately. I'll pick this back up again. And I wasn't disappointed. I may grab another map. I may not for sure. Maybe wait for another major update. But I definitely have been happy. Now, one thing I did run into, when I downloaded the update and tried to play it, it would not run. I would start it, Steam would say it's running, it would not be running. Repeatedly, even in safe mode, I got it to run like once, had a lot of issues, ended up uninstalling the game and reinstalling it. I did not lose my save files, and it worked fine after doing that. So there was a little bit of technical issues going on, which was, I would say, inconvenient, kind of annoying, but nothing catastrophic. Once again, I didn't lose the save file. I had created this map on the one time I got it to run, and that wasn't a big deal. Yeah, so once again, I do very much like this. I like where they've gone with this. I haven't tried the new Iron Teeth, see what they've done quite yet. I was never really a big fan of the Iron Teeth. They just seemed a little bit meh, but still, definitely like where they've gone. So if you haven't played Timberborn, if you like these kind of games, I encourage you to check it out. If you have played Timberborn and it's been a while, you know, run through a map of the new one. They've definitely done some nice features. I like where they've gone with this. So with that said, have a wonderful day, and this is Dr. T signing off.